I'm your huckleberry.
What's going on, everybody? Matthew back again for some very unfortunate news. Val Kilmer, star of who's probably my favorite performance of his is Tombstone, has passed away at the age of 65. Let's get into it. Here we have the story from Variety. Val Kilmer, star of Batman Forever, Tombstone, dies at 65. Val Kilmer, who played Bruce Wayne in Batman Forever, channeled Jim Morrison in Oliver Stone's The Doors, which I haven't seen in a while. I need to rewatch that movie. And starred as a tubercular Doc Holliday in Tombstone. Died Tuesday in Los Angeles. His daughter Mercedes told the New York Times the cause was pneumonia. He was 65. He had been battling throat cancer for several years. If you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, or Top Gun for that matter, he's in both of the films, and there's a very emotional scene with him and Tom Cruise in the second film. So if you haven't seen those films, I highly recommend it, as well as the other ones that were just mentioned. Kilmer's reps did not immediately respond to Variety's request for comment. The baby-faced blonde actor had a solid run as a leading man with a volatile reputation in the 80s and 90s, starring in Top Gun, Real Genius, Willow, Heat, and The Saint. He returned briefly to screens in 2022's Top Gun Maverick, although he could no longer speak due to his cancer. And he does actually put forth the effort to speak in that movie, which I thought was pretty cool. In 2021, a documentary on his life, Val, was released, which I still haven't seen. I definitely need to check that out now. His son provided the actor's voice, and the film utilized hundreds of hours of video he had recorded over the years, giving a revealing look at the sets he worked on and showing the actor to be an introspective thinker with an artist's soul. Kilmer took over from Michael Keaton for Joel Schumacher's 1995 Batman Forever, receiving mixed reviews for his take on The Dark Knight. Now, I'm not sure if if specifically his take on The Dark Knight received mixed reviews. I really liked his Bruce Wayne. As an actor, you have to read what is written, and from what I remember liking most of what he did as Batman. There's one particular part where he grins, which is not very Batman, but again, you have to do what the script says. But I remember really liking his Bruce Wayne a lot. He was replaced by George Clooney in 1997's Batman and Robin, notorious flop that nearly killed the franchise. New York Times said of Batman Forever, the prime costume is now worn by Val Kilmer, who makes a good Batman, but not a better one than Michael Keaton. After reportedly turning down a role in Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders, Kilmer broke out with a starring role in 1984 spy spoof Top Secret, in which he played a rock star and sang his own songs. Following his turn as a brainy college student in the 1985 sci-fi comedy Real Genius, which I've also seen, it's been a while though, he became a major star, appearing opposite Tom Cruise in the worldwide hit Top Gun. I mentioned earlier, great movie, definitely recommend it. Kilmer met his future wife, actress Joanne Whalley, on the set of Ron Howard's fantasy film Willow, and then appeared with her in Kill Me Again in 1989. One of his most memorable roles was playing the charismatic and doomed Morrison in Oliver Stone's 1991 The Doors. That is also a very good movie that I highly recommend. I have not seen that movie in a while. Kilmer memorized the lyrics to all of Morrison's songs before his audition, and he immersed himself in the role, wearing clothes similar to the singer's for close to a year. Roger Ebert wrote of his turn as Jim Morrison, quote, "The performance is the best thing in the movie, and since nearly every scene centers on Morrison, that is not small praise." After Batman Forever, New Line persuaded him to come on board the troubled production of The Island of Dr. Moreau, where Kilmer tangled with both the film star Marlon Brando and director John Frankenheimer. I have heard about this. I think there's a documentary you can watch on YouTube regarding the behind the scenes and how difficult Marlon Brando was, and maybe Kilmer was too. I can't remember, but I remember I'd never seen the movie, but I'd always heard that the movie was bad and that the actual documentary about making it was way better. Frustrations on the production mounted when Brando refused to come to the set, and the documentary Val revealed a tense set where crew members grimly joked about Brando's stand-in named Norm. Frankenheimer, the second director to work on completing the film, reportedly said, "There are two things I will never ever do in my whole life. The first is that I will never climb Mount Everest. The second is that I will never work with Val Kilmer ever again." Wow. In the 1990s, Kilmer starred in Michael Apted's Western Thunderheart and The Real McCoy, and had a small but memorable role as an Elvis-like mentor in Tony Scott's True Romance. His role as a sardonic Doc Holliday in Tombstone was one of his most beloved performances, and in 1995 he appeared in Heat alongside Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. I believe I've seen the beginning of Heat. I never finished it for whatever reason. I can't remember, but I do need to watch that movie as well. To me, his performance in Tombstone is the biggest thing he's ever done. That role, I love that role so much. When I was a kid watching that movie, I wanted to be like Doc Holliday so bad. He was so cool and so smooth, and I love the fact that even though he was sick with tuberculosis, he was always there to stand up against evil with his friends. I really like that a lot. He went on to star in The Ghost in the Darkness and the forgettable remake The Saint, which he shot instead of returning as Batman in Batman and Robin. Kilmer implied he didn't return as Batman because of scheduling issues, though Schumacher's description of him as psychotic could have also been a factor. So he definitely had issues on the set. I wonder what that was all about. After the mid-1990s, the studio roles dwindled amidst his reputation as difficult and combative, and he appeared mostly in independent films and supporting roles such as Stone's poorly reviewed Alexander. I didn't know he was in that movie. Born in Los Angeles, Kilmer was raised in Chatsworth and attended Hollywood Professional School and the Juilliard School. He appeared off-Broadway in The Slab Boys, co-starring with Sean Penn and Kevin Bacon, before his first TV role in the after-school special One Too Many, which also starred Michelle Pfeiffer. He did voices for animated films including The Prince of Egypt. Good movie, I recommend that as well. His other films included At First Sight, Red Planet, Pollock, The Salton Sea, Wonderland, and The Missing. Kilmer continued working in films including Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Robert Downey Jr. That is a funny movie, and he is very funny in that movie. He plays a gay man, and he's hilarious in that movie. Deja Vu with Denzel Washington, Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans, and The Snowman. And this is something that I did not know about him. It says he's a lifelong Christian Scientist. Kilmer was unwilling to confirm his cancer diagnosis when it was revealed by Michael Douglas in 2016. Michael Douglas apparently revealed Kilmer's diagnosis. That's not cool. He combined his fascination with Christian Science founder Mary Baker Eddy with his love of Mark Twain in a screenplay that featured the two figures. He toured the country with his one-man show Citizen Twain for several years, which incorporated film and live readings of the humorist's work. In 2012, Kilmer received a Grammy nomination for Best Spoken Word for an audio production of Zorro. His memoir, I'm Your Huckleberry, named for a line in Tombstone, was published in 2020. Kilmer lived for many years on a ranch in New Mexico, where he continued to own land after selling off most of the ranch. He also painted and helped oversee theater programs for high schoolers to perform Twain and Shakespeare. Painted and helped oversee theater programs. That's cool. He was divorced from Wally in 1996 and is survived by a daughter, Mercedes, and a son, Jack. So there you have it. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer. Great performer. Always, for me, be remembered for Doc Holliday in Tombstone. Really great performer. Rest in peace.